Donald Trump is panicking as his top generals and admirals want him to end this disastrous war in Iran right now. In their daily briefings to Donald Trump about the status of this disastrous war in Iran, they keep on slipping into his daily war planning options for how to get out of this war right now. Here's what NBC is exclusively reporting. These top military generals and admirals continue to include these options in their regular war planning about how to end this conflict. Now, we know that Donald Trump doesn't read, though, so that's a big problem. What these top generals and admirals are seeing is that the United States is stuck with no way out in Iran right now. The front page of the Financial Times tells the story. Allies reject Donald Trump's call for warships. Which allies? Frankly, which allies exist anymore? But all of Donald Trump's so-called allies are saying, we are not sending our ships to the Strait of Hormuz. Are you crazy? You started this war. You didn't consult us. You and Benjamin Netanyahu rushed into this disastrous war. Try to figure it out without us. Now, we're learning a lot of other disastrous news from this disastrous war. The official count of wounded service members now exceeds 200, with around a dozen very seriously wounded. Although we know the Trump regime continues to provide false information, so it's unclear what the real number is. And of course, we learned that, at least as of now, from what's been reported, 13 service members have been killed. We've been covering here on the MeidasTouch network how some of the families of these service members are now speaking out against this unlawful war. Should also be noted that the United States has lost about a dozen MQ-9 Reaper drones so far, including one accidentally shot down by a Gulf state. These are these really expensive drones that the United States has, not to mention the United States Embassy in Baghdad targeted again by Iran. We have footage of that I'll show you in a moment. Donald Trump just looks so utterly pathetic, right? I mean, he was out there claiming yesterday that the foreign minister of Iran continues to try to reach out to Steve Witkoff to make a deal. Then you have the foreign minister of Iran saying, no way, we're not interested in a ceasefire. These are lies intended to manipulate the oil markets when we're not trying to reach out to Witkoff at all. We want to teach the United States a lesson. We're learning additional facts as well about how that USS Gerald Ford, that aircraft carrier, that is one of the two main aircraft carriers surrounding Iran, before Donald Trump launched this disastrous, unlawful, and ill-fated invasion of Iran with Netanyahu. Remember, we were talking about those fires that took place aboard that ship, and there was like sewage issues, and then recently there was fire issues, and this ship keeps having problems because it's really exceeded the length of its deployments. There were the sewage issues before, then there's the fire issues. Here's what we're learning that's happening. Sailors on board the USS Gerald Ford, which is now entering its 10th month of deployment, battled flames on board the aircraft carrier last week as well. Then they had the plumbing issue before the war for over 30 hours after a small fire that started in the ship's main laundry area spread through ventilation to several other areas of the ship, including multiple berthings, with more than 600 sailors and other crew members having lost their beds in the fire, and they've since been bunking down on floors and tables throughout the ship. So over 600 of our men and women in the Navy are sleeping on the floor right now, and there's no fix in sight. I mean, it's really pathetic that that's how we're treating our troops right now. Let's go through what's going on in Baghdad as well. We have footage of this. Video footage showing an impact by an Iranian one-way attack drone right outside the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. Watch this. And as Donald Trump says, we've totally obliterated Iran. They've been decimated. They don't have drones. They don't have ballistic missiles. We're winning this thing. All right, well, take a look at this video footage right here so you can see for yourself. Play this clip.
Wallah, they go home. Wallah, they go home.
Now I'll show you footage showing this impact from another angle. Also, one of the main hotels in Baghdad, where a lot of diplomats frequent, was also struck by the Iranian drones. And Iran's using its proxies in Iraq, its Shiite group proxies. And by the way, Iran hasn't even as of yet activated the Houthis in the Red Sea. I believe they're holding off because China's telling them to hold off, and Russia for now is telling them, look, let's just hold off because China wants you to hold off. But the moment Iran activates the Houthis in the Red Sea, the way the Strait of Hormuz is shut down in the Persian Gulf, there's a strait in the Red Sea. The Houthis know how to control that. All of these cargo ships are now being diverted to the Red Sea. They're going to get trapped there. Isn't it so obvious that that's what the plan is? But let me show you this footage showing a near direct impact on the U.S. Embassy compound in Baghdad. Play this clip. And here's another angle of the Iranian Shahed 136 flying low over the capital, seemingly with impunity. Play this clip. And I'll just share with you a video that the Popular Mobilization Front, an Iranian-backed group who's acting as one of the principal executors of Iran's strategic outlook in Iraq, they released this footage right here showing what appears to be one of these drones, these FPVs, first-person view FPV drones, flying unencumbered through the green zone in Baghdad near the embassy. Just watch the flight path right here. Play the B-roll, guys, as people can see the flight path here with impunity. And they're sending a message that at any point in time, we can attack any one of these buildings as we desire. And meanwhile, Donald Trump saying that all of this is AI. Donald Trump is saying that the crowd sizes in Iran that have been showing up to actually support the Iranian government after the United States struck the elementary schools and desalination facilities, and after Israel struck the oil depots, Trump's like, all these crowds are AI right now, to which the Iranian National Security Advisor Ali Larijani mocks Donald Trump and says, Trump says about the million-strong anti-American and anti-Israeli rallies in Iranian cities that these images are artificial intelligence. Now look, I don't know if it's 1 million people, but we know that several other outlets, New York Times and others, have confirmed that there are these pro-government rallies, whether it's 100,000, 200,000. I don't know if it's 1 million, but they're in a lot of cities and they're out there. And you can say, man, this is propaganda. This is propaganda. Well, they're staging it, and they're utilizing the fact that Donald Trump is covering up a child sex trafficking ring and that he represents the Epstein class. They're using that to say, hey, look, Trump, Epstein class, they're out here blowing up elementary schools the way they were predators on little girls and covering up for predators of little girls. And that's what the Epstein files is all about. Look at what they're doing in Iran. The first thing they do is kill a school of little girls. That's the argument that they're making right now. Look, explosions and air defense activity in Bahrain. Want to talk about what's going on in the UAE? Basically, all of its airspace shut down temporarily, but shut down in the past 24 hours. UAE fully closes its airspace. The UAE's General Civil Aviation Authority announced a temporary and full closure of the country's airspace to ensure the safety of flights and air crews. Dubai, Abu Dhabi, they're being destroyed right now, and Iran saying, well, look, UAE, you made this deal with the United States, right? Trump gave you, those chips. You invested in Trump's crypto companies and Jared Kushner. We know what you did. And now you have all these bases there. So we think that Dubai and Abu Dhabi is a fair target. Iran's also telling Saudi Arabia, clarify your position, because the reporting is that you've been working with Trump and Netanyahu. That's what they're saying. And I want to be clear. I mean, the United States and Israel are pounding Iran, hitting naval targets, decimating the Navy, not all of Iran, decimating certain military structures, certainly not all of Iran. They still have their ballistic missiles and Shahid drones. We're seeing them in action, right? But they're also decimating civilian targets, and they're killing a lot of innocent people as well. And that's rallying people in Iran around the government, unfortunately, and leaving people who were hoping perhaps for a shift to democracy. They feel betrayed right now by the Trump regime, especially when they showed up in mass and they were protesting against the Ayatollah back in January, and Trump said, I got your back. And he didn't have their back. He threw them under the bus. He got thousands of them killed. I mean, you got Israel invading Lebanon, southern Lebanon, calling up 450,000 reservists go into Lebanon. I mean, they're destroying Beirut. I mean, the suburbs of southern Lebanon are just demolished. Hospitals being blown up, hospital workers being killed, in addition to Hezbollah, but they're killing a lot of innocent people as well. And that is further rallying people against the United States and Israel right now. And of course, they're rallying around them for a lot of other reasons as well. You have the foreign minister of Iran, Araghchi, saying, look, we're not talking to Witkoff. He goes, my last contact with Witkoff was prior to his employer's decision to kill diplomacy with another illegal military attack on Iran. Any claim to the contrary appears geared solely to mislead oil traders and the public. And look, if you have evidence that you've been in communication with Iran, then show it. Then show it. But here's what people remember. Donald Trump in week 1 saying, we won. In week 2, we're winning. On week 3, send help. I mean, you all saw that disastrous press conference Donald Trump had where he was like, we don't need the help of anyone. Please help us enthusiastically. Or in that press conference yesterday, Donald Trump, 2 different occasions, there was the one press conference in one area in the White House, then the other in the Oval Office. He's like, nobody ever thought that Iran was going to attack its neighbors. Nobody thought that. And Donald Trump's like, but I knew they would weaponize the Strait of Hormuz, and I predicted 9/11. I knew what bin Laden was going to do on 9/11. I wrote about it in my book. You didn't write about that in your book. That's a lie. You mentioned bin Laden in passing once. And what is it? Do you claim that what are you claiming? Are you claiming that you knew about it? You didn't know about it? Are you asking for help? Are you not asking for help? No one knows what the hell you're talking about. And it's, again, utterly deranged. You have the Iranian generals saying, you can tweet your way out of this one. Donald, here, play this clip.
A message to the President of the United States. The outcome of war cannot be determined by tweets. The result of a war is determined in the field, the very place where you and your forces do not dare to approach, and you can only talk about it in your tweets. It's better to name this war as Epic Fear instead of Epic Fury.
And then you have Trump state regime propaganda on Fox, like Laura Ingraham, saying the EU was begging their daddy for help. And now we want your help and you're not helping us. Remember when you begged your daddy? What's wrong with all of you people begging daddy? Here, play this clip.
When Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, EU nations begged us for an alliance because they were worried that Putin wouldn't stop in Ukraine. They needed daddy's wallet and daddy's munitions. But for decades before that, those same countries had also been free riding on the backs of our military and our taxpayers. It was only when Donald Trump called them out to their faces for their failure to meet their NATO military requirements did they begin to contribute more to their own defense. And they pay, but they do so grudgingly. And some of them still aren't paying up. Now, you've heard of sham marriages. This has been a sham alliance. Sure, like when we're defending them for free, while at the same time allowing them to take bigger and bigger shares of our market? Well, of course they're going to like us then. Europe loved running circles around a weak Joe Biden, and they loved hearing Obama apologize for America every time he seemed to speak overseas. I was thinking about it today. I think you should think about it this way. If you're the guy who goes into a bar alone every weekend and buys everyone drinks, well, sure enough, you become pretty popular. But what happens when you show up one week and expect others to pick up the tab at the bar? Well, suddenly all your fake friends can't find their wallets. Well, under Biden and Obama, we weren't leading an alliance. We were the rich guys trying to pay people to be our friends. But in the end, who's better off? The kid who pays for friends or the kid who knows the truth?
And then on two separate occasions yesterday, Donald Trump said he was shocked by Iran's retaliatory strikes against neighboring countries, claiming nobody expected such an escalation, but everybody expected it. I mean, whether it was Dropsite or us or other, people were reporting on that this is what was expected. Iran was saying they were going to do it. The Arab nations warned about it. Dropsite did a good job putting these two videos side by side. I'll play you one right here. Let's play it.
Look what happened. In the last 2 weeks, they weren't supposed to go after all these other countries in the Middle East. Those missiles were set to go after them. So they hit Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait. Nobody expected that. We were shocked.
Here's another one right here. Let's play it.
You were talking about Iran a couple times today and what they did after Epic Fury began. You said they hit Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait. Nobody expected that. We were shocked. Are you surprised that nobody briefed you ahead of time that might be their retaliation?
Nobody, no. The greatest experts, nobody thought they were going to hit. They were, I wouldn't say friendly countries. They were like neutral. They lived with them for years. Peter, they were going to take over the Middle East. They were going to knock out Israel with their nuclear weapon. But after we knocked out their nuclear potential weapon, they started building missiles, thousands and thousands of missiles. And they were going to do it with missiles while they developed. These are sick people. While they developed nuclear, somehow they were going to start at a different site, because that site was, you saw the site, the mountain. They were going to go into a certain area, which we know exactly where it is, and they were going to do that. And it's incredible what we've done. I tell you, the job we've done. Do you know?
And then Donald Trump said, we don't need anybody when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz. We're the strongest in the world. We don't want your help. Play it.
We don't need anybody. We're the strongest nation in the world. We have the strongest military by far in the world. We don't need them. But it's interesting. I'm almost doing it in some cases, not because we need them, but because I want to find out how they react. Because I've been saying for years that if we ever did need them, they won't be there. Not all of them, but they won't be there. I was very surprised with the United Kingdom, because the United Kingdom, 2 weeks ago, I said, why don't you send some ships over? And he really didn't want to do it. I said, you don't want to do it. We've been with you. You're our oldest ally. And we spend a lot of money on, NATO and all of these things to protect you. I mean, we're protecting them. We're working with them on Ukraine. Ukraine's thousands of miles away, separated by a vast ocean. We don't have to do that, but we did it. Well, Biden did it. I mean, I have to be honest with you. Biden got taken to the cleaners. But we worked with them in Ukraine. We don't need to work with them in Ukraine. And then they tell us that we have a mine ship around, and they don't want to do it. I think it's terrible.
And then here Donald Trump said, we strongly encourage everybody to get involved. Play it.
We strongly encourage the other nations to get involved with us, and get involved quickly and with great enthusiasm. I have that from a number of them, and I'd like to say their names, but frankly, I don't know if they would want me to or not, because maybe they don't want to be targeted. But I say, wouldn't matter if you're targeted or not, because this is a paper tiger that we're dealing with now. It wasn't a paper tiger 2 weeks ago. It's a paper tiger now.
Again, how deranged and demented is that? That's why these generals, as I mentioned, and admirals, they're putting in his briefing, let's get out now. Cut your losses. You're going to have to make this decision anyway. Get out now. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thank you everybody for watching. We appreciate you.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.